back in the day, one of the systems that I was always curious about but never bought, I never knew anyone that had, was the TurboGrafx 16. It was that next generation of graphics in an era of the NES, and you know, it was more exotic than what the Genesis was. Everybody had a Genesis, everybody played Sonic, but nobody that I knew had a TurboGrafx 16. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rocksolid Productions. Thanks for stopping by and checking out our episode that we have here. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you see, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. That way, every time we do upload new content, you're kept the most informed and up to date. Now, here in the US, we got the TurboGrafx 16. In Japan, they got this here. This is the PC Engine Core Graphics. And they actually released a couple different variants of that. Smaller hardware, but essentially the same system, just again in a smaller footprint. Now, the folks over at TerraOnion have recently updated their Super HD System 3 to make it even better than their original release. The one caveat on it, it doesn't work with the TurboGrafx 16. You need to use a PC Engine. So we actually bought this one when we were at the Pinball Expo 2021. If you want to see our coverage of that, I've got that link for you right up there. So what does this do? It does a lot of different things. First and foremost, it allows you to basically play your TurboGrafx 16, your PC Engine, and your Core FX games off of an SD card. It also allows you to play CD-based games, and it gives you an HDMI output. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to unbox this, see how it comes out of the box, see how it fits to the system itself. I've yet to power this up. I'm so excited. Again, I bought this specifically for this. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to play some games, see how it looks, see how it plays. Let's hit the bench and get started. Before we get started with the Super HD System 3 Pro from TerraOnion, I do have to say super thanks to the guys over at Stone Age Gamer for sending us one of these for review. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you check them out. I will have them linked for you. So here is, if you've never seen one, this is what the Core Graphics is. This is basically the European or the Japanese version. Both look pretty similar for their version of the TurboGrafx 16. So we are going to open this guy up in a second, but let's take a look at the information on the back, because there's a lot of good stuff here that kind of walks us through everything that this will do. They're calling it the ultimate add-on to get the best from your PC Engine, featuring an easy-to-use menu supporting CD, so it's a .CUE, and HuCard.PCE images, built-in system cards for CD-ROM, Super CD-ROM, and arcade CD-ROM games. Play any CD game without needing to have a system card plugged in. That is awesome. Stores each game backup RAM to a micro SD, allowing infinite game saves. No need for additional storage accessories. Instantaneous HuCard loads using onboard RAM memory, faster loading times than an actual CD hardware. In-game menu trigger for faster game switch. This for me is huge. It has a HDMI output built right into it. Also has an AV multi-out with RGB support from digital and stereo audio. So if you'd still want to go from this into something like a RetroTank 5X, you can completely do that. MD Fourier balanced audio, Super Graphics game support, micro USB developer port, physical switch for in-game trigger, plays CD-ROM, Super CD-ROM, arcade CD-ROM, HuCard, and Super Graphics games. Loads open source FPGA cores from microSD, and then it is a micro SD card slot, and you do want to use less than 256 megabyte or 256 gigabyte, sorry, SD card, so, or micro SD card. So you have a download the instruction manual from our website. Use a micro SD card in FAT32 or exFAT format. You can use micro SD cards up to 400 gigs, so I guess there's an update to it. Copy the ROM file to the micro SD card and plug it into your Super HD System 3 Pro. All right, so no real instructions or anything like that included. You need to download everything from that QR code that's on there, which, I mean, it's kind of nice, but by the time you have that slip sheet in there, you could have just included a manual. So here's an interesting thing about this, is the fact that it is blue. Habadi Habada. So taking a look at the back, looks like that's your push button I was talking about, micro USB, HDMI, and then your connector on back. I'm thinking that's the same as the Model 2 Genesis. There is your micro SD card slot is right there. and the system plugs in right here. So we have our core graphics, and it just has a little drawer here. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is this here is only for the PC Engine. It does not or is not compatible with the pinout setup on a TurboGrafx 16, so that is something to be aware of. So I'm going to take this and slide it on right like that. And that's it. It still gives you access to that connector on the side if you so wish. Yeah, and that's pretty simple. All that you need to do is connect your power supply to that side and load up your games through the micro SD card, and you're ready to play on your PC Engine. That's pretty simple. So one final thing before we go ahead and test this out is you want to go ahead and download the manual and check for any sort of firmware. Now you need to register on their website to be able to do that. And for that you need the serial number. Where the heck is the serial number? It's right there, which I'm going to cover part of it up, but it's inside the system because I was looking here where it would make sense to have the serial number. Since it's a flat spot, that's not where it is. It's actually right here in the system. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to update the firmware, make sure we've got everything that we need, and we're going to load this sucker up with some games. We're going to actually test out with our own physical HuCards too. Let's get going. So getting to this point where we could record has actually been not fun. I've had a few issues crop up here. First and foremost, when I went to go ahead and plug in my core graphics, nothing happened. It didn't work. Out of the box, it failed, which just left me scratching my head. Thankfully, our amazing friend Voltar had a solution out there, and I figured he would. He has a video that talks about how to restore and reactivate a dead PC Engine. Turns out there's a fuse, a glass fuse inside on the system board. I opened mine up, look at it, sure enough, it was blown. So I went ahead and replaced that. Now one of the interesting things is it actually had 2 wire leads going down to the PCB. Well, I had no place locally that I could go ahead and take care of that. So what I ended up being able to do was, it's a 1 amp fuse. I bought a new one, went ahead and I was able to unsolder the tops or the ends of the fuse from the leads, and then went ahead and soldered the new fuse in its place. Works like a champ, as you can see on screen here too. The other thing I did try is, even though it says it doesn't work with the TurboGrafx 16, I took the case apart and everything. I took everything apart so that I just had these pins on the back to go ahead and try to get this to work. I had so many graphical errors and glitches going on. I don't think it's just a hardware issue. I think software-wise, there's something about the TurboGrafx 16 that simply does not play well with the Super HD System 3 Pro. The final issue that we had, well, it appears my PVR 60 Pro from HuCard, my capture card, doesn't like the output resolution of this, at least at 720p. No matter what I did, all I was getting was a blue screen of recording. So we are actually recording right now on our, what's it called? On our Genki Shadowcast is what we're recording on. So that is on my laptop over there. Now we have the system right up here. And what you can see, this is the menu when you first fire it up without a HuCard in it, what you're going to get. You can load your last game. Now the CD games and HuCard ROMs, those are folders that I've created myself in Windows. This Dump 1, Dump 2, Dump 3, and Splatterhouse, those are all HuCard games that I have dumped to the SD card of my own games. We'll get into that here in just a second because this thing is so much more than I thought it was. So let's dive into the settings. You can change the game list type from either a list or cover view. So if we do that, that's what the cover view would look like if I had artwork loaded. I don't. And I don't think that I've got it loaded in here. Let's check. Yep, no covers in here. So I could load them associated with it, and then that would work just fine. For what I have right now, we are going to go back to the list view. I can automatically boot to the last game. Reverse menu 1 and 2 buttons, I may end up doing that because I often hit one instead of two or vice versa. It's just one of those things where it's nice to have that option. Enable on-screen. Trigger is an option. Skip cd-rom, press run. So normally it would just load the game for you. I have mine disabled where I actually have to press the run button just to make sure that it's loading properly. You can toggle that on and off. Seek time emulation, per game backup RAM. Enable arcade card. This is the biggie for me. Enable HuCard dumper. So by toggling this on or off, and you can just hit the, is it the 1 button? Nope, it's the 2 button. See, that's where I say I may switch that over. So by toggling that on and off, you can actually, and it doesn't help if you have the turbo on, by the way, when you put a HuCard in, instead of normally playing it, it'll dump it to your SD card, which is amazing. That, to me, takes this from a piracy device, and I have not been a fan of EverDrives because of the way that it tends to promote piracy. It takes it from a piracy device to a preservation device. Absolutely love it. Select CD system card, and for that, there's different BIOSes out there. BIOSes, a BIOS for different systems, so either the CD-ROM system or the Super CD-ROM. I currently am using the Super CD-ROM for the Japanese version. I don't know that I need all of them. I've got them just in case. And then you can change the video options as well. So default I have set here out of the box is it's 720 by 480. We'll wait for the screen to come back up. And it can also do 640 by 480. 1280 by 720. And I don't know that this is going to show on my TV. Oh, it will. This is 720 by 480 unbuffered. So we're going to go back to 720p on here. You can turn scan lines on or off. There's fixed, there's adaptive, and you can change the brightness of them on here. I am not a huge scanline fan, so we shan't be using them. Scaling mode is either smooth or sharp. Again, there's smooth, there's sharp. I prefer sharp myself. You can change the analog and the digital color tables along with the brightness on analog and the color range. There's limited, there's full, limited, full. And then you can change the theme of the UI. So right now we have it loaded for PC Engine. There's the Core Graphics, Core Graphics 2, PC Engine Blue. I'm a fan of just the regular PC Engine. You can also go down here and scan the folder. It'll show you all your files and everything. And then finally, you can go and check out the version. Now, the one thing I would highly recommend, go ahead and update the firmware. This is the latest firmware available at the time of this recording. There's links to the Discord and to the manual. With that out of the way, as you can see, I've dumped a number of my own games already on here. Splatterhouse. I recently picked up my copy of Splatterhouse back in October, I want to say, from our local disc replay. I've yet to play it, so let's check and see what it's like. Also kind of give you an idea, there was pretty quick. I mean, that's typical of the load time. Oh, swing and a miss. Oh, Yelich got all of that one. Now, like I say, this is the first time I've ever played it. I know that it is a highly desirable and sought-after game. Ooh, batter up. Get it? Batter up. Ha! Dad jokes. Swinging a drive to left, center, and deep. Get up, get up, get out of here, gone. Gotta love me some Bob Uecker. Okay, this is looking good. So we have a number of games to play. We're not going to dive into each one a whole lot, but I did want you to see this is what our ROM of Splatterhouse is looking and playing like. Let's play our next game. Now, the Splatterhouse in the menu, as you see here, I actually renamed and I popped the SD card into Windows, renamed it and everything. What's nice is you can do multiple dumps back to back to back. I just said multiple dumps, didn't I? And it will name it dump 0, dump 1, dump 2, so on and so forth. So you can go back through and rename those. I think this is my copy of Pac-Land. It is. And we're going to use lever control. I love this game so much. It reminds me so much of Saturday morning cartoons. Look how vibrant and everything these colors are. It's just, it's so good looking. And I mean, what's nice too, and I've mentioned this before when I've featured Pac-Land on here, is they are using the music from the cartoon. Hanna-Barbera did the animation, I believe it was, on here. And I mean, it's just, this is quintessential 1980s cartoons. It really is. Now, I will say it does get a bit repetitious because it's about all the music that you hear. But here you can see, again, I'm playing my own games. It's about preservation, and it looks beautiful. Look how beautiful this looks via native HDMI output. I mean, that's the one thing, too, is the fact that, you know, I have a RetroTank 5X. I have an Insurrection Industries spark plug, and I've loved playing this system using that. This looks even better than that. However, we will try this going through the RetroTank 5X here in just a little bit. And for this, now I am using the stock controller. And if you notice, I'm actually sitting quite a bit away from the back side here just because this controller lead is so short. And I know that I have the, oh, that was quick. I know that I do have the Hyperkin controller and the old school controllers that are both longer than this. I can't find my adapter cable right now. I know I have it. It comes with them. That was close. I almost flew into that dude. Ah! Just not playing this game very well. Oh, we're fighting Dalsim. This looks a hell of a lot better than I thought it would. Okay, this is actually controlling really, really good. And that's exactly it. You press select to go between kick and punch. And it does keep your preference from the previous round. So like I had activated kick there. Now I just switch back to punch. Oh! Got me. This is going to come down to the end. Oof. All right, we're going to round 3. Oh, I'm honestly really surprised and impressed with how good this looks. Oh, there went my perfect. Got him! Okay, so yes, it will play HuCards directly as well, which is super cool. Now let's go ahead, let's check out some of the Super CD games, and I will admit I have downloaded some ROMs and some ISOs. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like doing that, and after I'm done with this video, I'm going to be deleting them. That's just my personal preference. You do you, I do me. So we've got a few games in here. Let us dive into Rondo of Blood. And here's the screen. Like I say, you can bypass this and have it just automatically hit the run button for you. I kind of like seeing it. I know I'm weird. Now, my favorite Castlevania is still Super Castlevania 4. It's beautiful. It sounds great. But I do get the appeal of this one. I mean, it's rare, which definitely adds to the mystique of the game itself. But it's also a beautiful game. Look at the scrolling in the background. And that was one of the neat features. You notice when I picked up the axe, the knife came out behind me so that if I didn't want the axe, I could go back and get the knife. It's one of the nice little game improvements that Rondo of Blood has. In addition, it's just a beautiful game. Look at the details, the embers, you know, the backgrounds and everything. Plus you have, like right there, you see how I broke the blocks, the, you know, your traditional kind of Castlevania, you know, hidden areas or hidden features. Would I spend the money for it that it's going for? Probably not. I have it available, at least I think I've got the ROM available on a couple of different, like, plug and plays. This is one of those I really wish that would come out in a compilation, like for the Switch or the PS5 or the Xbox. Yes, I just said something nice about the Xbox. But look at the details and everything in the backgrounds. I mean, that's just super cool. And, you know, another thing about the CD games is just the audio. The CD quality audio is so terrific. I mean, now we don't have the same issues that we did back in the day with, you know, storage capacity on cartridges, and you can get CD quality audio or better in a cartridge, or I mean, quite frankly, on the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X. You know, the fact that you got physical, well, not on the Series S, but you know what I mean. Great parallax scrolling and everything on here. What the hell is that? Almost got him. Oh, and he got me instead. All right. Okay. Fair game. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to switch up. We're going to go through our retro tank and see how that looks. All right. So here we have it hooked up through the retro tank 5X. We are using 5 times line multiplication. I don't think it looks as good myself. I think the HDMI really does look better. Let's go into CD games. And this is a game I didn't realize that was on the TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine CD, Zero Wing. Let me go back. You know, such a great shooter available on the system. And it's one of those things, I'm glad that I've got it in the Toplin collection now from Retrobit for the Genesis. But to be able to play it on here, okay, I'm in. And here too, I think the picture is quite a bit darker. And that is where you can actually fine tune a lot of that in that sub menu on there. But it also gives you the option, if you do want to play on a CRT, you have that option. And then go out to, you know, via component cables to your CRT and whatnot. Oh, let's try that again. Oh, without having the update or the upgrade, there's a lot of guys here that are trying to kill me like that. Crap. And I will say this is definitely one of the games where having that turbo fire functionality on the controller, definitely a huge benefit. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, I myself definitely prefer the HDMI output. That's just where I'm at this point. I want everything HDMI out. And the nice thing now is I can use the cables, the component video cables that I have. I can actually use those and connect my Japanese Sega Saturn to my RetroTank 5X and just use another HDMI port for my PC Engine TurboGrafx 16 games, which, I mean, that's excellent. I am loving life as far as that goes. One of the things I want to show you before our last game is how quick and easy the ROM dumper is. All that you do is you put your HuCard in and it power the system on and it brings you to this screen. And go down to dump, hit the 1 button, and it dumps your HuCard for you. Now, this is actually my TurboGrafx 16 copy of Victory Run. So you can use your American games for the TurboGrafx 16 now with the PC Engine thanks to something like this. There's no external mods or internal mods or anything like that that you need to do. Simply dump your HuCard to your SD card and you're ready to rock and roll. And I absolutely love this feature. This is my favorite thing next to the HDMI output. This is my favorite thing about this wonderful device. So for our last game, I know I give Tyler at My Retro Life a hard time about this. And by the way, here you can see Dump 03. That's our copy of Victory Run. I have to play some Darkwing Duck. Now, one thing I have now done as well, just for giggles, I have actually hooked up from the HDMI output on the back of the system. I've hooked up my M Classic just to see how it looks, and I actually think this looks beautiful. And I am selecting easy because I suck. And so does this game. I am really interested in Tuscarini's level. Beautiful game. I have to admit, I like the looks of it. I wish I could get the D, but anyone who has watched The Angry Video Game Nerd knows that that's pretty much an impossibility. Tuscarini rolled down. Goodness, getting over these guys just is not easy. One thing I never understood about this game either, and there's Tuscanini again, even though he rolled down the hill. I never understood why this didn't use music from the game, because the game's music is, or from the cartoon, because the cartoon music is excellent. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is you can only jump on the guys' heads who are not shooting at you, and you can only shoot the guys who are shooting at you. Does that make sense? Jump on the guys who aren't shooting, shoot the guys who are. So I shot him, but he bounced back and started going the other way, and now he did not respawn, so there's that too. I jumped on his head! What the hell? Well, we've got 5 tries here. Let's see what we can do for Tuscarini. And while we're going through this, what do I think of this setup overall? Well, I have to admit, I love it. It's terrific. I think the HDMI output is definitely the way to go, at least for me. It doesn't make Darkwing Duck any better, which is very sad because I love Darkwing Duck. Now, one of the things I do wish about this was that they would come out with a version that would be compatible with the TurboGrafx 16. At least here in the States, obviously, this is going to be the more popular console. Not that either is wildly popular here in the States. However, you can get a PC Engine for like $50 on eBay right now. I paid about $175, $180, I think, for this one, but it came with the box and everything, so there's that. I paid about $60 for this one from Pat from Show Me Retro in 2020 at the Mo GameCon Junior, and he gave me a great deal on it. It was just the system. I may not use this ever again because now of what this is offering me. I mean, the core graphics takes up less space in my setup. Let's just say that. Gives me an HDMI output. I can now go ahead, like I mentioned, and hook up my Japanese Sega Saturn and use my HD Retrovision cable, or did I have a SCART cable? I may have used Insurrection Industries SCART cables with that before. But I can use that now with that Japanese system, free up space because this is a hell of a lot bigger than what the PC Engine is, and still experience all the same wonderful games. And that dumping capability to be able to dump the HuCards, absolutely love it. Now it's time for final thoughts. This thing has served me so well and I have loved it. But man, there's something about the PC Engine that, and this whole setup, I gotta say, that is just wonderful. I mean, the fact that I can still play my HuCards that I own and throw it in here, no problem whatsoever. And I'm going to get HDMI output. I love that. Now, for me, I want HDMI. The quickest and easiest way to get to HDMI. And for me, 720p on this is beautiful. Also, for me, I've talked about it for years on this channel. One of the reasons I don't do EverDrives is I don't promote piracy. If you're gonna play a game, I firmly believe you gotta own the game. That's my choice for me. You do you, that's what I'm gonna do for me. This adds extra value, and I love the fact it allows you to dump the ROMs on your existing collection. That's preservation. That's what I love seeing. And it's an amazing piece of hardware. Now, it's not inexpensive, but it's also not cheap. It is a well put together device overall. A few minor things I'd like to see improved if they do a version 4 or a Pro V2 or whatever you want to call it. The micro SD card slot is really recessed into the side of the unit. I'd like to see that kicked out a little bit more, or have the eject mechanism be able to push the micro SD card out just a little bit more. Above and beyond that, include an instruction slip sheet. I understand having it online, anytime there's a revision, it's there. I completely get that. But at the same time, give me some basics on what I need to do to go ahead and get set up with this. Now, they do have that one slip sheet that comes with it to download everything. But if you don't have a smartphone on you, like I was trying to get it rolling for my computer, I had no idea as far as where to find my my serial number, where to find the BIOS, where to find, none of that is in there. So it would have been helpful to have that sort of information on there. And I understand for copyright reasons, they gotta be very careful what they do put in there. I do also love the fact that you can do multiple resolution types right out of this, and it's mod free. You aren't changing your hardware at all. It just works with your existing hardware. Now, I did try it with my TurboGrafx 16 before I realized the issue that I was having with my core graphics, the blown fuse. I was getting a lot of graphical issues. So when they say this is designed for the PC engine, for the Core FX, they're very deliberate about that. There's a reason behind it. But this is something cannot recommend highly enough. This is simply terrific. If you want to pick one of these up, thanks to the folks over at Stone Age Gamer for sending us this for review. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see some more information on it and another take on it, check out the amazing Adam Korlick. I will have his video for you right up there. I know he has also reviewed this. I have not checked out his video yet. I will be after this video goes live. He's a good friend of the channel. I'd like to support him as well. Now, if you do have any other comments or questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section. I will have a link to where you can get this through Stone Age Gamer down in the comments as well. You can also go ahead and email me with any of your questions or comments at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. You can send me a message on Twitter at RockSolidStudios. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions and Instagram at instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK. You can also go ahead and pick up some awesome 3D printed stuff that we're doing here on the channel too. Controller stands, system stands, cartridge holders like what you see back behind me. I printed out all these. Check those out. If you have a request for something you're looking for, let me know. We'll try to make it happen for you. Now, if you are looking for any other videos that we've done as far as like when we picked up our PC engine, how we region-free modded our TurboGrafx 16, and even when we picked that up, those videos are coming up for you right now. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to support the future of Rock Solid Productions, you can do so by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you'll get early access to all of our video content, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. You can also become a channel member here on YouTube for as little as $1.99 a month, and with that, you get a badge next to your name when you comment or post on the channel, and you are acknowledged whether you are a channel member or a Patreon supporter at the end of each and every one of our videos. You can also support the channel by visiting our Teespring store on screen now, where we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, masks, cell phone cases, and much more. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.